can't.
I don't know if I did it right or not.
Did you do it right?
Wait.
I'm probably way off. Can you hear anything?
No.
No, we don't even know what we're doing today.
All right,
We don't have a producer. Well, we have Steph. Steph's kind of producing. So.
Today we're gonna just make you guys stare at us.
That's listen. See, we don't know what we're doing. Eli says we're making you guys stare at us.
All right. Well, we're live on air, so.
Can people hear us out there? Hello, Radio Land. Can you hear us? And can you see Eli? Here's.
Yeah.
We're on. We're on. Okay. We got it.
We're good.
Okay.
All right. So today, we have Eli who's throwing up dab. What are you doing? What's that called? Dabbing. You go boop. You dabbing. Yep. There it is. There it is. The dab. That's awesome. What are you here for today, Eli? What are we talking about?
I forgot.
One fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish. No, big fish and little fish. When you're selling, right?
Yeah.
Do you sell things? Cookies, right? Remember we talked about Eli's cookie shop?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Where are you at, Steph?
I'm coming around. Coming around.
You're on your phone.
Come on, Mom. Mr. Master Mushroom here says that, and Mr. Chicken Master Chicken want to discuss things here. So today we're talking big fish versus little fish, selling to those fish, right? Do you know what we mean by that, Eli? No. When you go in, let's say you have your cookie store, right? And you make cookies. And you go to sell to somebody, and you go, what was your favorite way to sell? You like to set up a table, and then you put all your cookies on the table, and you say, cookies for sale, $5, come and get them, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what you said before? That's what you just told me, right? Yeah. So those are like small fish. They just want one box of cookies, right? Or a little bit of cookies. What if somebody were to say to you, I want 1 million cookies?
That means they have to pay more than $5.
What if they're willing to pay more than $5 and now you have to make 1 million cookies? Could you make 1 million cookies? Would you say yes to making 1 million cookies? Would you? Don't look at your mom. This is your business.
Oh, there's Grandma. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. Say hi, Grandma.
Hi.
Hi, Grandma. If we're gonna call you Mr. Chicken or Master Chicken, and I'm Master Mushroom, then we're gonna have to say hi to Grandma the right way. Hi, Grandma. So if you were to somebody were to say, I want to buy 1 million cookies, would you say yes, I'll do that, or would you say no, I can't sell you I can't make you 1 million cookies, so I'm not going to sell you 1 million cookies?
I could, but I'm going to have to buy some and make some.
Buy some. So you would say, yes, I will get you 1 million cookies.
Yes.
And then you'll go get 1 million cookies somehow.
Yeah, so I make some and then I get some from Costco.
Costco, if you want to sponsor the show. 21.6 the net.
21.6 the net.
Today's
Costco.
sponsor, Costco. The best
I mean, at least all your cookies will say Kirkland on them, right?
Yeah.
That's
so
okay.
I think we're getting a little ahead. So I think that we should start with your pitching strategy when it comes to small fish and big fish, and then go into, once you land them, then how do you ramp up production in Eli's case for the 1 million cookies versus his standard production for his everyday shop. And then we should kind of maybe dive into, do you avoid the big fish, or like who do you like more? Do you like more little fish, or do you like those big fish? And then how much does those big fish interrupt your normal standard operating procedures?
I have a real fresh story about the big fish, right? We just went through that one. Our biggest fish ever, in fact, in December, end of December, beginning of January. And let's talk approach. Yes. Right? Like selling it. Right. Selling that big fish. Are you the type of person that can walk into a room and sell it?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to think so, since we have a few clients, but
Well, you could sell the fish.
I feel like there's certain, so I've had things where we've gone to sell to a big fish and Rich has come with me and they talked to him the whole time and didn't talk to me, even though I'm the bookkeeper and going to be the one doing the work.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's other situations where they talk to me and then they only want to work with me and not let my staff work with them.
Mm-hmm.
So there's different approaches. So like I personally, for a little fish, I feel like you could just go through your standard sales pitch and you give them the proposal and it's not a big deal. But then when you're getting into bigger fish that are used to being schmoozed, we'll say, you have to do a little something extra sometimes, whether it be going to Top Golf or whether it be going out and taking them out to lunch before you close the deal. Like there's other things that come with those big clients that I feel add to your expenses sometimes. So if you're not a closer, you're going to run the risk of spending a lot of unnecessary money.
That's a great point. I've met a lot of people in the industry that cannot close the deal when it comes to larger fish, right? That's a craft. That's an art. And maybe even if you don't have the ability to do the work. So I've seen some people that are awesome at closing a giant job, but even though on the back end, they're scrambling to get it done.
Right.
And I've seen people that could easily take on a big job, but can't close that big job because the salesperson or whatever just is I don't know, nervous, uneasy, whatever. I loved walking in to meet big jobs, right? To meet the top of the line. I had no qualms with walking in and meeting the CEO of a company and talking the talk with them.
Right. So do you, when you do a little fish sale and versus a big fish sale, do you dress differently or do you speak a little bit differently or do you treat everybody the same because your sales pitch is your sales pitch? Because, I feel like sometimes it could be slightly off-putting to some of the little fish, knowing that they are a little fish and seeing how you treat the big fish.
Yeah.
And then you're not treating them equally.
So I won't dress for a big fish. I will dress for the area we go to, right? Just went to a really nice golf course and I bought, in fact, this shirt just because, which again, I'm really loud in this shirt. I don't know if people can see it, but it's a bunch of mushrooms, right? That's why I'm called Master Mushroom. Master Mushroom. So I will absolutely be myself, be bold, and be whoever I am. The message never changes, right? Like I have no problem telling a homeowner that, you can't clean mold by spraying it with bleach, right? The same way I will tell the CEO you can't clean mold by spraying it with bleach. I'd say it's the exact same thing as having a big old pile of shit right here on the table, spraying it with bleach and saying it's clean. I have no problem telling a CEO that or a homeowner, right? Like it's just who I am. I think my message is always the exact same because that's how I sell, is who I am. Whether I dress different, I think is more for the occasion or the location, right? Not the person.
Right.
I'll dress for myself, however, I'll show up in a hoodie to a CEO. No problem.
Right.
Do
you feel like when that sales is something that kind of comes natural to people, either they have it or they don't have it, like that it's just like certain people are just born closers and you could just tell when they walk in the room, like that's a closer. Like
that guy knows what he's doing. He knows it really is those guys that command attention when they walk in. Kind of like, so.
Oh, is Derek on an airplane?
Clearly he is.
Hi,
watching.
Derek.
Derek's watching from 35,000 feet. And he says, beautiful shirt, Joe. Thank you very much. See, everybody loves my shirt, don't they, Eli? Yeah, it's a great shirt. I know I'm gregarious and can walk into a room and command, and I command without purposefully doing it always. I can command the room's attention.
Right. So since you know how, like, you have that charismatic personality
Right.
and you could do sales and all that,
Right.
has anybody ever like kind of closed a deal on you and then you walk away from it and you're like, God, they were good. Like, kudos to them. Like, because it happened to me the other day.
Okay.
Like,
so I don't play into it as easily.
Oh, I didn't even know what happened. Like, it was totally
that's a great salesperson.
after,
Yeah, that's a great
like,
salesperson.
Like the person, we were talking and whatever, and I was like, okay, we're looking to make some decisions and whatever early next week, probably like on Tuesday. And then he's like, okay, let me get my calendar out. Oh, I have this time available. And he's like, oh yeah. And like, I wasn't really committing to anything, but then he committed me into locking in a date, and he's like 19 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we have a meeting on Tuesday afternoon to finish our conversation, to see, where things go from there. And I was like, I came out of there and I'm like, good for him. Like, most like teenagers, I feel, don't have that whole pizzazz about them.
Correct. I feel like there's a few out there that do. There's obviously, you're really awkward when you're a teen. I started selling really young. Pretty much the same. I mean, I was selling when I was in restaurants, right? Like, I could sell a bottle of wine and a dessert onto a meal faster than anybody else in the restaurant who, could actually drink the wine. I wasn't allowed to. I was 18. I could, I think I could taste it, but I couldn't have a glass of wine or whatever. So when I started selling shoes and managing a shoe store, I got a lot of salespeople that were from all different ranges in outgoingness and whatever. So I think everybody has the ability to close a deal, whether it be with a little fish or a big fish or whatever. I think sales and closing is about knowing who you are and being yourself, knowing what you're selling 100%. Right? If you don't know the ins and outs of what you're selling, you don't know what you're selling, right? So if I know myself, I can sell myself so well, right? Like, I could sell whatever, right? I can sell restoration because I know restoration. I can sell shoes because I know shoes, right? As soon as I or any salesperson knows exactly what the product they're selling or their service they're selling, I feel like then it's just being yourself and not being introverted, being able to speak up. And as long as you can do that, I think most people can go in and close a deal, because it's just being educating the person. And if they want to buy it, they're going to buy it from you because you answered all their questions. Right. That's a good salesperson, right? Like, you don't have to be so bold and outgoing in a room that everybody looks at you and goes, that's a closer. Like, some of those outgoing people suck at closing, right? They completely turn people off. I may do that to some people, but I know that I can close deals, or I can talk to people, and people like me. Yeah. Generally liked, I guess.
Do you think, Eli, do you think that if mommy gave you a template to use for you to sell your cookies, okay? If I told you, this is how I want you to talk to people to sell the cookies, do you think it would be better if you looked at the base of my template and put your own personal personality in there, and you would be more comfortable with the selling? Or do you think reading the script would get the same result?
So if you were to take your cookies and go to knock on a door and say, and pick this piece of paper up, and she wrote something, and you say, hi, my name is Eli. I have cookies here for sale. Would you like to buy some? Or do you think it'd be better to talk like you and say, hi,
I'm Master Chicken.
I'm Master Chicken. I got some cookies for sale, right? However you would say it. What's better, reading it or being yourself?
I would be myself, because the first one sounded weird. Like I'm working for someone else.
So you think I agree with that. I think that's a great point. You feel like if you sound weird and you're working for somebody else, that people won't trust you, or they may not just like you; they just think you're weird.
Do you think it'd be harder to sell when you're look when you're reading it from somebody else's personality and not your own. Yeah.
They can't see you nodding your head and radioing. I did that my first day too, so I know it's not your first day. But... Well, how so? If you're out selling and you realize somebody has just like closed a deal on you, and you're like, "Holy crap!" Would you ever go out and go, "I need that person as an employee"? Do you ever turn around and immediately go, "That person needs to come work for me"? Because they have what it takes. I just have to teach them my product.
I've met people before where I've been impressed and I've contemplated been like, oh, maybe I'll poach them. But I didn't, because I wouldn't want someone to poach one of my employees, but I'm not saying that it couldn't happen.
People are poaching your employees all the time, FYI. I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. But people poach employees all the time. People poach my employees all the time. People are always trying to take our employees. But they won't, because our company culture is so good. That's why. So let's get back onto big fish, small fish, right? Like roping in a fish. If I were to go out and get great employees, and then now I have the confidence to go out and sell the bigger fish, right? We had a job that came in, and this is the biggest fish we've ever gotten as a company. It came in Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve. Stop rubbing your eyes. You look like you're tired.
Because I am.
Oh, then go take a nap on the. Oh, the couch is gone. Never mind. Take a nap on the floor. You're fine. Okay. Yeah, it's good. We got a job on Christmas Eve. It came in. We got a lot of jobs Christmas Eve when all the pipes thawed, right? And one came in. It was a 60 unit. It was a 60 unit senior care facility. With all memory care, the memory care unit. So all of the seniors had to stay in their units, and we couldn't move everybody out and put them in a different place. So everybody had to stay in. We were drying with all of them in place. They're all seniors. So if we removed carpet, we had to remove tack strip right away. We couldn't have cords laying around. They're all memory care patients. So they all have some kind of Alzheimer's, dementia, right? Like we're screwing up their life. Right. It wound up being, to date, it was the largest. We just got finished being paid on it, but it was larger than our first year and a half of being open. About one job. And Carrie went to it. This was the big fish. And Carrie's afraid of big fish, right? Not afraid, but just was very nervous.
Carrie and I are very cautious.
Cautious, right? Yes. Not risk free, but risk adverse.
Yeah.
Very risk adverse. And so we got the job call, and she's like, and I'm Josh and I were like, let's go, let's do this. Right. So I think that's where she went out, her and Josh went out, met the managers, walked through the building, talked about what they were going to do, very knowledgeable on what we do. And what we were doing is the exact same thing we do in everybody else's home, only just on a larger scale, right? We're just using more air movers and more dehumidifiers, right? So we got everything going, and we went through it. They signed. They said, yep, you're good to go. We did it. We talked. We walked through it. Obviously, we got some pushback on insurance, which that'll be a future show. Insurance, getting insurance to pay, billing insurance, billing whatever. So we went through it. We talked about it, and they agreed. They took us on, we took them on, and we went through the entire job. And the entire time, Carrie was like shaking in her boots, right? Not like, I don't want to say so scared, but she was a wreck for a certain amount of time. A wreck. She was so nervous. How nervous would it be? Let's go back to the 1,000,000 cookies. What if you were to get 1,000,000 cookie order? Somebody said, what if I were to come here and say, Eli, I want 1,000,000 cookies, but instead of paying $5 a box for that 1,000,000 cookies, I'm only going to pay you $2.50, half your price. You're going to give me that 1,000,000 cookies? Because it's 1,000,000 cookies. That's a lot of money. Now I'm going to give you.
How much money did you say again?
I'm going to give you $2.50 a box. and I want 1 million cookies. How many cookies are in your boxes? Like 10 cookies, we'll say.
I need like 20.
20. Okay, that sounds fair. I like that. More bang for my buck. I like it. Okay, so I want 1 million cookies. I'll tell you what. I'll do 1 million boxes of cookies at $2.50 each instead of $5. You ready to make a deal? You gotta make 1 million boxes of cookies. He's really thinking here, folks. You got to make 1 million boxes of cookies instead of $5. I want $2.50.
Say no.
You want to do it?
Say no.
You want to do my deal?
No.
No?
You just said $2.50.
A box.
Who would just want $2?
Right.
And
Who would just want $2?
It's $2.50
I
a box.
I just take the cents. I wouldn't take like the $2.
You don't want the $2? All right, that 50 cents a box.
Ew.
Wow! Wow! I love this man. We're making deals left and right. Oh man! You see how clearly he needs a negotiator. He is not a seller, Mom.
Yeah.
Grandma, you need to come in, step in, and start negotiating for Eli here. Wow!
So
that's quite a deal.
For us, when we started, I didn't want to take on any clients above a certain size for the monthly reoccurring services because it would hurt so much more if they left versus having a solid base of small and medium sized clients that when you don't have that big fish money coming in, it's hard to put together your growth projections because those big fish aren't that always sale. Like it's not you get that opportunity every single week or every single month to present to them. So for me, I wanted a solid base, like a base of clients big enough to replace my W-2 paycheck before I started taking on those bigger clients.
That would actually require some time before you maybe got paid a little bit.
We get paid up front, so it's not a big thing about payment. But like when you get into those bigger clients, they obviously, as you know, take more resources and take more time because they add on more services. Or for me, it's more services. For you, it's just big. It's just on a large scale.
It drained us. It drained our pocketbook. Because we have to put up front we had to put up front for all of the equipment we put on site for that. It was at least 4 times, our next biggest job pretty much, that we've had at least maybe 2 to 3 times our next biggest job. Right. It was 2 to 3 times that. And we didn't put a single piece of equipment of ours on. We had to rent it all. So we had to pay the rental company, which was like $90,000.
Right. So
then we had our employees and our temp labor, which we had to pay right away. So yes, we had to float all that in the beginning, which was a big mistake that we made that we won't make again when we take on another big fish, is we will ask for money up front instead of floating it all and getting paid on the back end like we normally do with homeowners, because that's how homeowners works. And it's easy enough for us to do because we can float that much expenses.
Right.
But this one was tough. And we paid, but we had a line of credit. We were set up already. That's another thing. Ooh, that's actually a good point. If you're set up for it, are you not as nervous to take on that big fish? Like now, if we were to get the same size job, we would take it in a heartbeat, and I don't think Carrie would be nearly as nervous.
Well, no, I think once you've been through it and done it and then see where you need to tweak your process and then you make set adjustments, it's just so much. It's just all just the same thing, just bigger. It's like once
you're calling in other resources like Costco.
Right. Well, so like for us, if we have a bigger client, we put them on a weekly package versus a monthly package. So we're touching their file once a week. They're communicating with somebody on my team once a week. So it's more involved.
Less of a snowball at the end of the month or beginning of the month.
Like it wouldn't make sense to do that once a month with them. It makes sense to do it once a week. So I have to make sure that everybody's schedule allows to have so many clients every Wednesday, so many clients every Thursday. So it's a process for that. But I learned the hard way as well. Like when we took on our first couple bigger clients and I tried to do it on a monthly basis, but then I'm trying to do their stuff plus all the other clients on
it's just
the
so
deadlines started to get a little blurry at that point. So
yeah.
So that's
Okay.
why we made these adjustments. So if you're a company of a certain size or you sign up for a certain amount of services, then you have to go weekly.
And for us, if you're a certain size loss, we have to collect a deposit up front, which we don't normally do. Now, because of that one big loss, we were able to make contact with labor companies and a equipment rental company that will do emergency show ups. Right? They literally were there at midnight on Christmas Eve delivering rental equipment for us. And that's like something now where we can go, yep, we'll take the job. We just need humans and equipment, and we got it. Right. So we now have a resource for both of those that we know we can rely on. And that's like, all right, now we don't have to say no. Experience, like gaining that experience from doing it once, doing it twice, whatever it may be. We've done it a few times. It's just nothing was as big as that one. Right? Like that's the elephant that we've chewed so far. Right? How often do you try to pursue a big fish? Like, do you actively try and go after them now, or are you more kind of lay back and let them come to you, and you just keep your normal networking and marketing for your sales and whatnot for the people that are in and around you, right? Like I know there are big fish in and around here, but like you're not going to typically run into a big fish.
I mean, like some of our marketing campaigns and stuff now are targeted to that, like a specific, like $1 to $5 million businesses and stuff. And then we have other things that are targeted to businesses that are like startups, because we do QuickBooks setup and all of that. So we have different things, different parts of the machine working, trying to grab different sizes. Like I personally don't enjoy onboarding 3 big clients at the same time. It's much easier if I have a mix, but sometimes that's just the luck of the draw. And that's just what comes in that month.
But
and
then
you just
aren't you
deal
happy
with it.
that you get those 3 big clients? Like, is it like a
yeah.
Do you see it more as like what do they call that?
Like once we get through the onboarding, then things are fine because we have a process, we have access to things, we have this, we have that. Like we have so much stuff that we need, and it just sometimes the onboarding process is a little bit more difficult with the bigger clients, because sometimes it's more difficult to get the owner to focus for a half hour just to get this done, because by the time they call us, they're already drowning. And they're trying to just stay above board as it is. And then, they have so many fires they're trying to put out that sometimes that happens.
Do you ever recognize when somebody is maybe over their head when you're in like a group of people or at like a networking event or something, and you see somebody over their head, they just know, their weight, they're selling to fish too big? I've seen it before. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I guess I really haven't paid too close
attention. Yeah. I love sales, so I love listening to people talk to other people and see how they sell.
But I mean, like I could see, like for example, when we recently, you guys were there. Well, your team was there, and I was there at the golf outing for the McHenry Chamber. It seemed like there was some new faces, which is great, and then it seemed like there was some, standard faces,
the norms,
right? And so those norms didn't necessarily, it's not like I was going to pitch to them because they already know me and I already know whether or not they're, if they're using my services or not,
right?
And then some of the newer people just they didn't know that they're supposed to talk to the vendors at the hole. Like somebody didn't prepare them to talk to that. And they were like, they're like, why are these people bothering me while I'm trying to golf? Like,
quiet on the tea, please.
right. Like, so
Clearly, you guys don't understand this outing.
so it's just kind of like you have those situations and things where people just
I think about people at those kind of situations and people that go out and try to sell, but is it maybe it is just like they were big fish and they're like, I don't care about this, or maybe they were like, yeah, I don't have anything to give you, right? Like I'm
well, I just think it's so rude to walk up to another business owner or somebody, whatever, even if you're not a business owner and you're there golfing as like an employee, it's so rude to like walk up to somebody's table and just look at them and not say anything else but, we don't need your services. I have a bookkeeper. I have, you know what I mean? Like, it's just rude. Like, I could still be
strike up a conversation,
cordial with you, and just because you don't necessarily need a bookkeeper right now, you might know somebody else that does. And so it would just be nice to take 10 seconds just to say something nice or chat. Like,
I used to love that. So people would come up in the shoe store and they would say to me, because to me the shoe store was the same thing as sitting at a tent in an expo or at a golf thing or at a booth, right, at an expo. It's the exact same thing. You get everybody walks in, walks out, walks in, walks out, right? It's real quick, fast interactions. That's the same as retail. So when you sell in the shoe store, people will walk in and I go, how's it going? And they go, I'm just looking. Well, I asked how it was going. Right. And that would be my immediate response. Well, I asked how it was going, not what you were up to, or like, so you're just looking as how it's going, right? And I'd start right back into them because I didn't care at that point. If they're going to be a jerk, I'm going to be a jerk back. Right. And I guess it's the same thing there. Like, don't come up to me and be like, yeah, whatever. I don't need you. I asked how it was going. Hey guys, how's golf? How you hitting the balls? I don't need your services. Okay.
Right. Like, I just don't like that, like, baffles me. Like, that, like, I feel like if you're like, if you as an owner are going to be out there representing your company and this is how you treat other people that are either owners or staff of a company there, like, what would make you think I would ever want to refer you because you're so rude? And then you have the other side of it where if my employees were there and that's how they talk to somebody else, like, I would be infuriated. It would be like, just like if my kids were like a dick out in public and then like it got back to me.
Do you feel the bigger the fish, the bigger the dick? Well,
no.
That's kind of the truth. But I mean, just anatomically, it's proper. But what?
When we go home. He's hungry. He wants
cookies. There's food in the office. You want to go get me your sandwich? If you're not going to eat your sandwich, I'll eat your sandwich. You got cookies in your lunchbox?
Go ahead. You could go open the door and go into the office.
There you go.
But
go grab some food. Yeah, I'm joking. I don't really actually want your lunchbox. I don't want to be the bully on a radio show.
I don't have one.
Just leave the door open.
That's okay.
This is going off the rails. Just leave the door open.
Yeah, this is going way off the rails. So big fish, bigger dicks.
No, I feel like in a lot of the situations I've been in, I feel like the bigger fish, while they come with their own unique situations, I feel like they're more involved in the deliverable and they're more appreciative of the stuff coming off their plate. Sometimes, like the littler fish or the startup companies, they expect you to be not only their bookkeeper but also their business coach and tell them like all of these things that need to be done and like what forms you need for employees and all stuff. And like, yes, as a bookkeeper and a bookkeeping firm, we can totally answer those questions. We're happy to answer those questions. But in the back of my mind, sometimes I'm like, you should know these things as if you're going to own a business. Like, you should know the basics.
For the most part, if you don't know, you should learn because you should learn. I told you had a sandwich, bro.
But it's just, like, so I feel like, I don't know, I guess it depends on the client and it depends on the industry for if it's going to be.
We don't need to listen to you eat.
Eli, go over there.
Yeah, why don't you?
Because it's going to pick up on the mics.
Yeah, we don't want to listen to you going. We had enough of that on to the taco week when we were tasting tacos.
Especially since it's peanut butter sandwich. So
oh man, that would be like you'd be clicking all day long. Yeah, I know exactly. Do you have milk with that? That's the only way I eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich with milk. No, crazy.
So, but with with the small fish, I feel I don't know.
So small fish to you are more work.
Just some of them are more work in the aspect of educating. Attitude?
Yeah, bigger fish, bigger dick.
I've had it both ways, so I guess, well, that sounds bad. I've had situations where, like, a big client was just so dismissive of me and my skill set, but then I've also had similar situations with clients that are in our base package that, are just starting their business.
And
both
ways.
So it's not really
and vice versa, nice on both ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's just the person and the personality. So
fair enough. So moral of the story, that story is don't be a dick.
Right.
Don't be a fish with a dick.
Yeah, but that's also another show topic we have coming up in our roster is red flag clients. So and what you kind of do in those situations when you see those red flags.
Well, so in this case, when you see a red flag, but it's like a large.
I'll say no. Nope.
Really?
Yep. I will turn it down. I will say no, thank you, and nope.
I mean, if I can get the right price,
nope.
I'll price it the right way.
I've tried it that way before.
Like if I was Eli and I was dealing with me right there, no smacking your lips over there. We don't actually want to pick it up. When I was dealing with Eli in his cookie shop and I was making my deal for 1 million cookies and he went from 250 to 50 cents, I would have been going the other way. If that guy would have called me and said, "Hey, I want 1 million cookies for $2.50," I'd go, "You're gonna have 1 million cookies for $7.50 a box."
Right.
I would have went the other, but I would have priced it and given him a price, and if he would have said yes, I would have still done it because he's paying me my $7.
I think there's just like a big difference between a one and done client and you putting the asshole tax on it versus a monthly reoccurring client. Like I'm going to have to potentially deal with them. Even if I put the asshole tax on there and they agree to it, now I'm stuck with them until one of us bucks. So if I really already didn't want to do it because I saw these red flags and we weren't professionally compatible and this and that, like every time I go to log into their file, it just invokes some type of reaction. So it's like if I'm in the middle of a sales process and I pick up on these things, I will say, you know what, after this and that, I just don't think that we're a good fit. Like I don't have a problem turning down a big fish if I don't feel like we're professionally compatible.
100%. Okay. And
Or what about the carrot danglers? That's a whole nother thing. Like when you're selling to somebody and then they kind of want like a little bit of a deal and then they promise you all these other things. And like, cause I pitched a deal to someone and they were part of a franchise and they were like, okay, well, if you do this, then I'll get you in with the franchise company as a preferred vendor. Like, I don't know how that process works, and I don't know if any individual owner has that much pull.
Did I make that promise to you? Okay, good, because I was gonna say
I didn't deal with you. I dealt with your wife.
She's making those promises.
But it's just like what I mean. Like you have those clients, and I feel like sometimes that comes up. Like, how do people? If anybody out there listening has any suggestions, like
before.
Please share how you guys handle these calls.
I've been one of those people before because I always ask for free shit. I'm a redneck. I just live off of free stuff.
Yeah.
But
it's just like I don't know. I don't like the carrot danglers, and then you want me to discount my service because you're going to potentially maybe be able to do this. And then then that's a lot of trust that I have to trust that you're going to follow through with said item.
I don't carrot dangle.
Right.
If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. Right. If I say, hey, I'm going to come over and cut down a tree in your home, I'm going to come over and cut down a tree in your, at your house. Right.
Right.
Like, or you need something, you want me to come and move your
the desk,
big giant freaking conference table, I will come and move your big giant freaking conference table. Right. Yeah. I think when I make promises, my promises I keep. So I don't feel like I'm a carrot dangler. That being said, though, I definitely am a barterer.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with somebody bartering, or, I've had people say, oh, well, if you do my bookkeeping for me for like, just do this one-off project, I'll do this in return. That's fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just when you're selling, and then if I'm selling to an owner, because I'm dealing with B2B, if I'm selling to the owner and we're both owners, I feel like you should fully know and understand how it feels when somebody asks you to discount your services.
100%.
Like, it's 100%. Offensive sometimes.
100%. So I have come up with a rule on that for me, because I started off just discounting the hell out of everything because I wanted to develop my business and grow my business. In the beginning, I would do that I would discount to get the small fish.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, I would discount just to get the small fish. So after a while, it was like, I can't do that because we're not going to build a successful business. We're going to build a failing business. So Carrie quickly got me out of quoting. And now, if we have a client that we know has thrown up some red flags and we just don't necessarily want to work for them or something like that, or we really love them and we don't want to charge them money, we know they can do it themselves, they'll ask me if I can go and give them the Turner Special, which is all the information, and I'll stay there for 2 hours giving them all the information, tell them exactly how to do it. Hell, I'll even grab a shovel and dig a little hole for you if I think it's going to help you. But I always say to the client, as soon as my guys come on site, we're charging money. Right? It's not me. It's not, as soon as my employees are on site, we're charging money. So I'll give you all the information. You do it yourself. I'll help you make cookies. Yeah. I'll do it all for you.
I mean,
but as soon as my guys help, it's going to be expensive.
Right. Like, I feel like we kind of went through, like, so initially when we opened the business and the rate we were charging for services, it was profitable, but it wasn't profitable in the way that if I had an employee doing it,
you would have lost money.
I mean, we wouldn't have necessarily lost money, but we would have been, a very small margin on it. And Correct. So we learned real quick once we started hiring people what our new rates had to be and how we had to sell it. But it's just like, I don't know. Have you ever noticed that when you're in a sales meeting and you're saying things and you're doing your pitch and there's things that you think are value, shows your value and shows your stuff, and then you just make like a random comment and then all of a sudden, like, that's what they stick on and that's why they close with you? Like, that's happened before when I've mentioned like the radio show. Like, I'm like, oh, I have a radio show and this and that. And then they're like, really? And then that's what sells them. Yeah. Like, they don't care about like the 20 years of experience. They don't care about my college degree. They don't care about any of that.
Oh yeah. Yes. Hey, like, I have a radio show too, works for me as well. And then also one of the best things that I get for people to help me close the deal is all I have to say is my parents live on an island in the middle of Lake Michigan.
Right.
And people are like, really? Oh my gosh. And now I could just talk for a half hour, however long they'll sit and listen to me. And they're totally enthralled with what I'm saying. And then
you show them the map of Michigan from your hand. Your mom did the same thing when she was in my office.
She did?
Yeah.
Michigander. You might be a Michigander if you use your hand as a map. It's either the palm of the right hand or the back of the left hand.
No.
Yeah. If you're facing away. It's the other way if you're facing.
Anyway. So Eli, you have a question. Eli, is Eli the big fish or the small fish? Do you think you're a big fish or a small fish?
I don't know.
You don't know? If you're out buying cookies, how many cookies would you be buying? Would you be buying 1 million or would you be buying 1 box? 1 million boxes or 1 box? Are you a big fish? You out spending that cash getting them cookies?
It matters how big the table is.
That's fair. How many cookies they have? Oh yeah, let's get the mic back on him since he's done with his PB.
But yeah, so I think that you're a big fish because you are when you're very particular about said thing, like your Legos. You have a process, you know your process, but sometimes you just need a little outside help. And then you have to recruit services.
And then that's a great, he's the micro big fish, micro economy scale big fish.
Yeah, like right? He could build all the Lego sets by himself, and he has a whole process of how he does this whole thing with his books, because some of the Lego sets he gets have like 4 books that you have to go through, so they're like bigger sets.
Yes, that's how our girls are. My girls love them because we get the Legos for Pirates, or no, not for the hell
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, Harry Potter. Yeah, I think we might have a couple Pirates of the Caribbean, but Harry Potter. They love their Harry Potter Legos. And same thing. They're probably more on that big fish scale where they just call in for a little help. Hey, I'm having trouble with this piece. Oh, well, you got to move it here and move it there and badoop badoop. It's good to go.
Right.
Do you like to we got to go back to this because I really think that you should reconsider your offer for 50 cents a box.
No, I'm not gonna do it then.
You're not gonna do it?
Yeah, you gotta pay the full price.
The full price, $5 a box. Yeah. So if
you want like a 10 million, you gotta pay the full price.
So if I say now, let's do it, you're gonna make me 10 million boxes of cookies. Now you got to deliver. How do you deliver on a big fish order? Steph, have you ever gotten that big fish order and you were up till like 3 a.m. trying to get it done to get that deadline, or to make some point to do that extra legwork to show them that it was worth it to go with you?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, like if we take on a new industry or a new software that we've never worked in before, I spend time researching and figuring that out and making sure that what we're putting together for the chart of accounts is correct, or that software is and then who I could offload that to within my team and all that kind of fun stuff. Because when we take on a new client, I have to put the process together and make sure that I could release that client to one of my staff members. Right. I can't just hoard all these clients.
The big fish. Right. Yeah. Your shoulders then that just get tired. Yeah.
Defeats the purpose of having staff then at that point.
What do we have here? Another question from out there. Joe, how is your Harry Potter? I don't get that. That's gross. That's gross.
What does that say?
It says
in the know with Steph, Joe, and Eli.
In the know with Steph, Joe, and Eli. Who's Eli? Oh, I know here is Master Mushroom and Master Chicken. Master Chicken. I always feel like once you take on that big fish, if you work your tail off, you're gonna get it done.
Yeah.
Right? Like they went with you, they believed in you. Almost every single client even will allow you to have a certain, margin for error. Not a lot, right? Like, especially depending on your industry and what kind of error you make, but like it's not like you have to be perfect for this client the entire time. So I feel like, yes, if you go and take on that new big client and you buckle down, you do your research, you figure out, like you stay up till, I've gotten emails from you in the middle of the night, butt ass early in the morning at like 4 a.m. You're up doing stuff, whether you just sit on your computer and surf the internet to research something, right? You're still out there figuring it out. I feel like that's the same. If we say yes to something, we're going to do get all the knowledge we can and go execute it to the best of our ability. And I think it's those dummies that say yes and then don't research and do it the same way, right? Instead of going out. Eli, What if, and this we'll end with this because then we'll give our what we learned today. What if I were to say I want 1 million boxes of cookies, right? You make your cookies 1 box at a time, right? But I were to say I want 1 million boxes of cookies, and you were to say, okay, Mr. Master Mushroom, I want from you, you tell me, I want you to pay for half of the order up front, and that half of the order is enough money for you to go and buy a machine that makes 100 boxes of cookies at a time. Would you go out and buy that machine so you can make 100 boxes of cookies at a time, make them way faster? And then you can make more cookies for more people and make more money. Is that what you would do? Interesting thought. Would you buy a machine with the money you make from my order?
How much money is it?
Well, it's enough to buy a machine that would... Just even part of the money I give you would be enough to buy a machine. Wouldn't you want that machine? It makes cookies instead of 1 box at a time. You get to make them 100 boxes at a time. You can go to your mentor if you need, your business mentor. Go to your business coach. Ask your business coach. Business coach?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, deal. Done. Shake on it. All right, deal. I'll give you the money early. You can go buy your machine, and we're making cookies faster. Would you do you invest if you get a bigger client? We do.
Yeah, we've invested in different softwares. I mean, we have things that will help us. Like, for example, we use a software if we can't get access to like their banking portal, but we could get access to their bank statements and they don't have it linked with their QuickBooks, we could convert all of that to Excel documents from the bank statement and then import it in there, and it will cut our time down to like seconds compared to manually adding each individual transaction.
Wow.
So yeah, we will invest if Rich is really good at finding things that if we start landing clients of a certain size and this is the bottleneck that I'm running into, he will find a solution for us to then be more efficient to keep taking on those bigger clients.
One job we did was, and then I'll end with this, is we did an attic mold job, and it was so big with spray and attic insulation. We went out and bought the attic vacuum sucker, insulation sucker. It was like I don't know, $4,000 to $6,000 investment, but we bought it just because of this one job. It made it so much faster, like a fraction of the time that it would have taken us if we did it by hand. We did it with this machine, and now we have no problem taking on any job that's large because we go, yep, we got it. We already got the vacuum. Right now, it's just paying itself off over and over again. Right, but we actually said yes, we'll do the job, and then went, quick, order the machine.
Right.
Just because we took on that job. If we didn't take that job, we probably wouldn't have bought that machine.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I guess my equivalent to that is I've run into situations where CPA firms have called me and been like, oh, I want to offload 15 accounts to start.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I won't say no, but if you offload all 15 at once, I have to bring another employee in.
And you go get an employee.
But it's like, I'm not going to get an employee until you sign that paper. And I have access to all those then. But then it's like, I feel like
it's a scramble.
It's so much easier to buy the machine to do something than it is to get a person to do said project.
Yes. But when we do get so big, we have to pull in temp labor because we don't have it. But
right. Yeah. So I guess, my mom says not just that, but your work ethic will push you through. So that is referencing when you're talking about the late nights and research.
Absolutely.
And all 100%.
Of that. Yeah.
So we're going to do, Eli, what did you learn today? So what did you learn? What's your takeaway from the show today?
Do you want to know what I learned first? You want me to go first? Maybe. No?
Okay,
maybe?
Go ahead.
All right. So today I learned that Eli will sell his cookies for 50 cents if his business coach is not around. And I can cut the price to 10% of his normal cost if his business coach is not around. So my goal is to have Eli do business with me when he's by What did you learn, Eli?
I don't know.
You don't know? Did you learn that they make the coolest shirts out there with mushrooms on them, and that you want one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did learn that today. All right, what did you learn?
That I guess the selling process is the same, whether it's a little fish or a big fish.
For me, yeah.
I feel like I'll come with the same personality and the same
Mm-hmm.
style as I would with either. I agree with you in the aspect of like maybe like region might dictate like an attire or an event, but I think I treat everybody the same across the board. So
Yeah,
I
it
guess
really-
you get what you get.
That's when you said it. That's actually a good point because I kind of learned that too. Even though I said it, I really didn't like think about it. I never thought about it, but it doesn't matter. I don't dress for somebody else. I dress for myself. I dress for a location so I don't stand out like a sore thumb.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be myself. A pile of shit on the table is a pile of shit on the table. I don't care if you're CEO of McDonald's or whoever. It's a pile of shit on the table.
Well,
All right.
On that note, I
We're
guess
calling it done.
I guess thanks for getting caught in the net. We don't have the exit music because I couldn't figure
We're
it out.
gonna go, doo, doo. There it is. I love it.
So, but I guess next week, Joe will be flying solo and he will be helping other business owners out there go through the insurance billing process. So if you know anybody
we'll talk
that's
insurance
in that industry that bills to insurance versus direct to client, that would be a good show for them to catch.
Yep. Give
So,
us a holler. We'll
yeah.
talk.
Thanks. Have
See
a good
y'all.
weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Chicken.